Hello, everyone. It is me, Demetra Kaye, and I hope, let me mute Donovan's mic. There you go. I am Demetra Kaye. I hope you're having a great day. I am sitting here with Donovan, a recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. I should say that the purpose of the Demetra Kaye Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. We are not live right now, but we'll be live later at 5 p.m. Central Time with another great topic. But please enjoy this conversation and mix and mingle in the comment section with one another. I do watch, I just don't comment, but I am watching most of the time, when it's played back. So anyway, today we're going to be talking about a Texas state representative by the name of Nicole Collier, a Democrat, being held hostage in the House chamber there in Texas due to them breaking a quorum about 2 weeks ago, and they finally returned. And yeah, so she's being held hostage, and I'll tell you all about why in just a bit. But Donovan, how are you?
All right, welcome you guys to the Demetra Kaye podcast. Good to have you guys back with us again. We are not live, and we're having this great conversation because it's a very important conversation because we got midterms coming up. That's why a lot of this stuff is very, very important. It goes on. Our politics goes on regardless if you like the candidate, you don't like the candidate, you don't give a damn, whatever. It goes on. But to have these great conversations, we need contributions. If you would like to contribute to have these great conversations, there's a red scrolling banner at the bottom. Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, however you guys want to do it. All of your contributions, trust us, goes to the content creator that keeps the content creator motivated. And we greatly appreciate the contributions, those guys that continue to donate to the show. We really do appreciate it. Also, don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. Is Brother Phil on vacation? I haven't seen Brother Phil in a minute on YouTube. So I'm not sure if he's on. Yeah, he's on. Yeah, I know he's still on, but I don't know if he's on vacation.
No, he's around. You just got to. Unfortunately, a lot of people aren't getting notifications for whatever reason. Okay. So you have to actually go to the channels. But yeah, he's on every day.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Because I still get it, but I'm just like, it's kind of either late or something. Like something's going on. But anyway, don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get it on Google Play, Apple Store, and there you can get great videos that you don't see necessarily on YouTube, specific shows, specific topics from other content creators from around the African diaspora. Additional things on the Emancipation Channel from Demetra Kaye, Vicki Dillard, Brother Phil Scott, and a plethora of other contributors that are on the app. So please go ahead and download that. We keep talking about, having our own and doing our own, just like this platform here. Even though we appreciate this platform, there's only certain things we can do on the platform because it is not our platform. But when it is our platform, we can do and talk and, and be who we are because we own that. But as long as we're on somebody else's platform, we have to go by the rules and regulations that they have set up. So again, this is an interesting topic. Another Black representative that we elect on a constant basis, and she seems to be in dire straits right now.
Absolutely. So let's get into it for the sake of time. So as I alluded, Representative Nicole Collier, who is a Democrat in Texas, representing the 95th district, which is in the Fort Worth area. She is, in a sense, being held hostage on the House of Representative floor there in Texas due to not signing a waiver that basically would allow a public safety officer to follow her around to ensure that she returns on Wednesday when they decide to take up a vote, which the GOP seems like they have enough votes. And I'll get into all of that, but I want to show y'all this video that I put together of her talking to Representative Gene Wu, who is, I guess he's the chair of some sorts of the party. And you're going to see her spending the night at the chamber there.
This is Gene and
Nicole.
We're here on the House floor. Nicole today, after we came back to fight these racist, gerrymandered maps in the courts and to make the legal argument, what do?
They exercise control and they tell us that we can't leave unless we do exactly what they say.
And so I think Nicole simply has had enough, and she's not going to take it. And I think her way,
just like the American people.
yeah,
We've had enough. We've had enough of them taking all of our rights away. And so I've taken a stand.
Hell yes.
I'm pushing back.
Yeah.
And that's what we got to do.
And did you like plan this out or anything?
No, in fact, I had no idea this was going to happen. When I heard the order, I was like, hell no. Why should we bow down to what they want? I'm taking a stand. My constituents sent a fighter to Austin, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to resist the best way I can, and that is by standing my ground.
Yeah. So everybody out there, if you're watching, you find every way that you can resist. Whoever you are, whatever you do, in whatever way you can resist, go out there and resist.
The fight continues.
Okay. So as you saw there, that was her again talking to Representative Jean Wu now, and then you saw her basically going to sleep there in the chamber. She cannot leave. She is indeed locked in there. So of course, there are a lot of people who are up in arms, especially the Democrats, like, oh my God, she's being held hostage. It's not right. Some people even said that she is being kidnapped. Now, 2 weeks ago, about 51 Democrats fled the state of Texas to deny the Republicans a quorum, basically meaning that if they have a full quorum, they could go on and vote on something. Right now, that something is redistricting that President Trump told Governor Greg Abbott, hey, I need you to gank 5 seats, right? Now, those 5 seats belong to Democrats. And so the governor said, bet, we'll do it. So they held a special session to vote on it. And they do have the votes now to break the quorum. That's why the Democrats left. So they went to other states and they were gone for about 2 weeks. And so, of course, President Trump said, we'll have the FBI find him, and Greg Abbott and Ken Paxton and all of them was like, we're going to hold them in contempt and arrest them. It's like a civil arrest, nothing like they're going to jail, but arrest them and bring them back here so that we can vote on the quorum. So again, they were gone for 2 weeks. Finally, I think it was yesterday, they returned, and they're actually going to have the vote on Wednesday. But in order for them to leave, they have to sign a form basically saying, you're going to allow a public safety officer to escort you, right? Follow you and make sure you come back here on Wednesday. Now, there's some representatives that say, yeah, we see them if we go out to eat with our friends or our family. We see them. They're outside of our apartments, our car, our houses, or whatever the case is. But Nicole there is like, no, I'm not signing that. You're not going to be following me around or whatever. So they said, bet, then you can't leave. Now, there is a law there in Texas, here in Texas, I should say, that says they can do that. It is Rule 5, Section 8, that says that they're allowed to do it. And it's not the first time that they've done it. They did it in 2021. Sounds like against the Democrats as well. So it is something that is legal, right? Again, the premise is to make sure that you come back here and vote, because y'all pulled the shenanigans by leaving 2 weeks ago and we could not hold the quorum. So it is said that more than likely the GOP will pass that particular legislation, because technically they redraw the districts every 10 years when the census is done. It's mid-year, so it's not normal, but they can by law, I guess, do that. So that's what they're doing. So it sounds like on Wednesday it is going to pass, which means that 5 districts will be taken. It sounds like hers is in danger as well. Sounds like Jasmine Crockett's district is in danger, and a couple of other ones. So with that, you bring in the chat California under the leadership of Gavin Newsom, the governor, and they said, well, bet we got about 52, districts, if you will, and we own about 43 of those. But if Texas wants to play that game, we'll take 5 from them. Right now, that has to go under a vote per California law. But he says, yeah, we'll put that up for a vote. And then basically it'll just make it null and void what Texas is doing at the behest of Trump. So basically it's like, okay, Texas took 5 seats and California is taking 5 seats, what makes it even, right? But what Trump is trying to do is avoid midterm repercussions, because many people are saying, yes, there will be repercussions in the midterms where the Republicans will not have a stronghold on Washington, but because that happened to Trump the first time, right? But he wants to keep it all Republican all the way across the board. So he's going all about the country and starting with Texas and saying, hey, come on, I'm jacking seats, like Ice Cube, straight to jacking for seats. So this is going to get very interesting. But yeah, some people are saying she's being held hostage, but per the law here in Texas, she's not being held hostage. She's just making sure that she comes back and does her job, essentially. That's what that is. But people are up in arms about it. So Donovan, knowing all of that, what say you?
Better yet, I'll even do one better. Now, I know you're probably asking yourself, why did I do that? Performative politics. What a great performance she is putting on. She is putting up the resistance. She's putting up the fight. Oh my God. Oh, look at that. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. This is what the Democrats have been reduced to. Performative politics, and they've been doing it for 60 to 80 years. They're performing like they're fighting and they're scrapping, but at the end of the day, if the vote count is the vote count, which this woman knows what the vote count is, what's the point of being performative? Just be straight up and do your job. People love the truth. People are suckers for the truth. She said a statement that the racist gerrymandering. Do you guys know, if you look at a lot of states across the United States where the Democrats have a big city or something like that, gerrymandering is very racist and has been done by the Democratic Party more so than the Republican Party. Not saying that the Republicans don't do it, but it's done more so by Democrats to keep Black people and people of color into this Democratic voting style. Look at the maps and how they're drawn. A prime example would be, go to the map of South Carolina. Do you guys realize that in South Carolina, Bojangles Clyburn is the only Black Democrat in the congressional group coming out of South Carolina? He's the only one. Go look at his congressional map. Why is it that his congressional map encompasses a majority of Black people? Wouldn't that be racist? Who drew that map? Go down to Florida. Your girl Corrine Brown, before she got her wig snatched off when she went to prison, look at how her district was drawn. It circled over here and it went around here and it encompassed all of these Black groups. That would be a form of racism, would it not? But yet the Democrats love the gaslight. Oh, they're racist when they are the ones doing the racist type tactics, right? And the reason why Jasmine Crockett and this lady is having a problem with the way the new congressional map is going to be drawn is the fact that they still have a majority of Black constituents in their districts. The problem is those Black constituents that have been added into their new district voted Republican. So they're going to have to literally compete for their seats. It's not a walk-in, shoe-in, hey, I got this, because it's already been gerrymandered. That's why she's hollering and screaming the way she is. She's literally going to have to work to get those votes if she wants to stay in Congress. And then she brought up another thing. This is another thing that the Democrats have said, Demetra, and I'm going to ask you this question after I get done with my soliloquy here. They keep saying that the rights have been taken away. What rights have been taken away? Didn't the Democrats say if Donald Trump gets elected, women's rights, reproductive rights to leave their children would be taken away? It wasn't taken away. I haven't lost any rights that I'm aware of. What rights have Americans lost since Donald Trump's first administration? They keep, see, this is what I mean about performative. They keep saying these things that are not true. There's no rights that have been lost in America. And then, you know, she resists and she resists and she resists. And then when she loses, then what? She already knows the votes are there. So this is why I say it's performative. Oh, I'm fighting, looking like a damn fool. I'm fighting. You already know what the vote count is. But it's performative. And again, Academy Award.
So what was the question that you wanted to ask me specifically?
Yeah, what rights in America have we lost since Donald Trump's first administration up until now? What rights have we lost as Americans?
Well, what rights have we lost as Americans? Well, I would say now what's going on in Washington, D.C., you know, with all the, you know, the stopping and frisking and things like that. There's a lot of people who are like, yeah, I don't want you to be doing all that. I've, you know, pretty much lost the rights and the freedom to walk freely down the streets, as we've heard of a lot of people who aren't doing nothing, being pulled over, harassed. You know, I'm just speaking specifically to us. But in regards to this gerrymandering is very legal. Moral, that's a different question. And the Democrats and Republicans have gerrymandered just as much, but in recent times, it's been the Republicans that are doing it the most. Now, that is a legal tactic that they can do, and it's basically redrawing the districts, right, to however they want to do it, usually making it more favorable for the ones that's gerrymandering, but gerrymandering does have adverse effects. It robs the people of a say-so of who they actually want to represent them in that district. It robs them of the right to vote for that. That's traditionally how it is done. The voter gets to vote on the whatever politician that's running for that seat. But gerrymandering and taking it is like, well, you don't have a say so, right? That's just the facts, right? It's the facts. So they both do it. Now, is it performative? Yeah, it's performative. She said that. She says, I'm protesting in order to let people know I'm not gonna give it to you easily, right? You're gonna have to take it from me. So I personally don't have a problem with that. The problem that I do have with it is that when they had the districts, it's like, well, what were you doing it for? Especially you're speaking about Black Americans. What did we show for that? What do we have to show for that? Because I looked to see what a record is in regards to Black Americans, and it's the same old. She's fighting for criminal reform, fighting for low rent housing, but that's for everybody, right? That's nothing specific for Black Americans. So I guess what people really have to ask themselves, sounds like an if, but when those seats are taken, will you notice the difference, right? How is a Republican going to run that district any differently? Now, if you ask me, I think they'll run it the same as the Democrats, is be benign neglect, especially of Black Americans, because we know with any district, and I guarantee you right now, $1 to a donut, the district that she or Jasmine Crockett or any of the other ones that have their seats in danger of being taken, the white side of their district or whatever looks really good, right? But of course, the Black side, it doesn't look good. It's devoid and dilapidated, right? And so the Republican is going to do the same thing, but we know that the Republicans aren't stealing those districts because they want to be helpful. They're stealing the district, and let's keep it buck, because Big Daddy Trump told them to do it. Trump told Governor Abbott to do it, and he's doing it. It's not because we care about the people, because if you cared about the people, you let the people decide that, and or you will wait till the census comes around again and see who's moved and how many, because that's what the census is, to see how many districts actually are needed, right? How many representatives are needed. And so the Republicans are like, F the people. This is about Trump, because Trump doesn't want to go into what happened to him the last time, which happens to a lot of presidents. It's a referendum, if you will. Okay, bet, like Obama. You had the House and the Senate. You lost it, you know, when the midterms came up. And so that's when a lot of people said, well, Congress fought against Obama. They wouldn't let him, negating that he had both the House and the Senate. So Trump is saying, I don't want to do that this time. I want to keep on rocking and rolling what I'm doing. I want the Republicans to write me a blank check or let me write the blank check and they sign it, right? As they run the Congress, it's just a fact. I want them to sign it, and I want to be able to fill in whatever I want to do without opposition. I want to keep the Democrats lame in that they cannot do nothing but get on MSNBC or any other news channel and gripe and complain. That's all the power let me finish. That's all the power that they are going to be able to have. And so if you ask me that he can do it, he being Trump, and that it's legal, it's smart. However, and a lot of people are citing Project 2025, whatever the case is. Again, I go back to Democrats. You knew this was coming, and yet you did nothing to stop it. And so here we are, and now you're doing things like camping out against your will at the chamber there in the House of Texas. So it's like, what are we supposed to do with any of that at this point?
Yeah, I was just going to tell you, MSNBC does not exist anymore. It is now known as MS Now. Why are they rebranding all of a sudden? I guess the former name is so toxic and people aren't watching it. It's just off. But here's my thing, and I agree with everything that you said. Everything that you said, I agree with, because they both do it. It's performative on both sides of the aisle. It's legal what they're doing. To the victor goes the spoils. Isn't that the saying, Demetra? Isn't that the same? To the victor goes the spoils. Now, isn't it funny how it's racist and it's illegal, how the Republicans are trying to gerrymander the maps, but why were all the illegals allowed into the United States almost unvetted and just flooded in? Isn't that a census thing? Didn't I say that months ago? I speculated that the reason why you let all of these illegals in and do all that, because the census is not citizen-based, it's person-based. The more people you have in a certain area, the more federal dollars you get, and the more district seats you get, the more seats you get. See, but when you call that out for the Democrats, oh, that's not gerrymandering, but isn't that gerrymandering in a sense of rigging the system so that they can have unlimited power? So what I'm trying to tell you guys is they both do it. It's political gamesmanship. So all the whining and crying that the Democrats are doing, I go back to the saying, thus to the victors go the spoils.
Yeah, and then I think it's a cry for the Democrats to grow a spine. You know, you've watched Trump this term and his last term run roughshod all over, the civility, if you will, right? He's not breaking any laws. Of course, there's these handshake agreements. Well, we agree that when there's a changing of the guards or, an election is coming up, we're not going to make any major decisions in regards to the Supreme Court or any of these other things. But the Republicans is like, watch us not listen to that, right? And so it's the Democrats that are like, well, you said and we agree. And the Republicans is like, man, we're trying to change, create a wrinkle in time. We ain't trying to be your friends. We're trying to create a wrinkle in time. We're trying to change the Constitution. We're trying to do this, that, and the other, because at the end of the day, I don't care if you're Republican or you're Democrat, they're trying to keep it white. They're trying to rule at the behest of white supremacy, which is why you see all of the things going on now. Trump is just the final cog in the chain, if you will. He's the one that can do it, right? He's the executive boy. We know, we've always talked about there being a puppet master behind all of these politicians. Y'all think Trump is different? Y'all think he's really like, I'm gonna do all now? He's being told what to do, just like all of them, right? But in war, I've never been there, not in that type of war. But even the war of smarts. I mean, you better get what you could get when the getting is good, right? Now, the Democrats, they've had opportunities to appoint people to the Supreme Court, but they were like, well, we're just going to wait. We're going to wait and do it right because we agreed, right? And it's like, how did it turn out for you? My mama used to say, they say all is fair in love and war, but she questioned, is it? Is everything fair in love and war? If you don't think that theory is right, think about somebody who had their man or woman taken because I love your husband now. I just want him. Yes, I'm with your husband now. Well, is that fair? No, it's not. But I wanted your husband. In war, say, well, that troop is not looking. They're taking a whiz in the bush. We'll wait until they're done and then say, okay, now we're going to shoot you. We're going to give you a potential advantage to stop whizzing and get your weapon and stop us, right? So I'm saying the Democrats haven't moved like that. So maybe this is a wake-up call for them. Because when you don't move like that, you let your constituents down. Your constituents are like, hey, you didn't fight. Like Donovan said, you fought for the immigrants to come in and do A, B, C, and D. Yes, it's in a sense, reverse gerrymandering to bring all those people over here, but you didn't fight for us. Now here you are, you're losing the power to do anything. Well, again, I don't think the Republicans even care about the people in the district. They just care about Trump said, do what I say, otherwise you're going to have to pay the consequences. And we know the consequences for them is he get on his Truth Social and say, they suck, they need to go. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And they gone.
And it's funny, I didn't address Gavin Newsom's thing. This is the guy that's on his way out, and nobody really gives a damn what he has to say. Trump flipped 11 counties in California in the last election. So 11 counties got flipped here in California. And in order to do a gerrymandering thing, to redo the thing, it has to be put to a vote to the people. So they just can't do it arbitrarily by themselves. It has to be voted on, in a referendum through the people. And the people here in California are so pissed off, and I could be wrong on that, but I believe it has to be a special election. And with a special election, because I just don't think they could, if they could do it, they would have done it. You know what I mean? We're a super democratic state. They would just have done it. It has to be put on a ballot for the people to vote. And there are so many people here in California that are pissed off at the Democrats. This is just another performative thing by Gavin Newsom, because he wants to be president, by the way, who's Nancy Pelosi's nephew, who wants to be president, and he's showing, I'm fighting. See, if they're going to do it in Texas, we'll do it over here, and da-da-da. Has he not been reading the tea leaves, Demetra? This man flipped 11 counties in California in the last election. People are pissed at the illegal immigration that is going on. Karen Bass wants to give illegals money because they're scared to go to work. And he actually thinks this referendum will pass in the state of California. Now, I was one of the few that said Kamala Harris will get her brains beat in the national election. And I will say this, if this thing makes it to the ballot, which it probably will, I almost guarantee it will not pass. That's Donovan saying that on this day.
It remains to be seen, but I have my issues with Gavin Newsom, but at least he's doing it the right way. He's allowing the people to decide, and he said that. He says, "Will the people decide? If they decide to do it, great. If they decide not to, that's great as well. But we're going to show them that we have some power too." And as you said, we give $80 billion away to every other states, and Texas gets a lot of it. So if that's the kind of stuff they're doing, we'll have to rearrange our understanding of how we spending our money, right? So I think he's doing it the right way. Let the people decide, and that's where it should be. Let the people decide, because at the end of the day, those people get sent to Washington to help the people. But the people on both sides of the aisle have been forgotten about for a very long time, right? You got a lot of self-serving politicians in there. It's what I say and this, that, and the other. But see, as I always say, the problem is with the voter, because especially us in Black America, we leave politicians in office forever. James Clyburn, Maxine Waters, and all the rest of them, right? They stay in office, die in office. Sheila Jackson Lee, John Lewis, and all of them. And then when you look
Elijah Cummings,
you look back at their records, and you're like, well, what did they actually do for Black Americans? And it's always nothing specifically. They had these all lives matter, all-encompassing bills. Like I said, when I looked up, Nicole Collier was rent control and this, that, and the other. But it's like, well, that's for everybody. That's not specifically for us. So, yeah, I don't necessarily have a problem with what Gavin Newsom is doing. And yes, I think he is definitely putting himself out there to say, hey, I'll be your Huckleberry. I'll step in the ring. But one thing I will say about this is, yeah, you got people on both sides who like who they like or whatever the case is, but there are people on both sides who like, I'm sick of the foolishness, okay? I'm sick of it because at the end of the day, when the one big, beautiful bill comes to fruition next year, it's going to be a lot of people who are going to be suffering, whether you are a veteran, because you ain't done with that yet. If you know, you've been paying attention, whether you on, some social service, Obamacare, whatever it is, right? Everybody across the board is going to pay for that. And, this is where people need to get their head out the sand. You think, oh, they these bills are going to stick at the poor Black people and this, that, and the other. It's people who are working, who are on Obamacare, but they cannot afford their medical care per se. So it's going to harm a lot of people. Black, white, green, orange. Well, Trump, he's all right, but it's going to harm a lot of people. And so there's a lot of people who are thinking, hey, you know what? We got to stop this runaway train because, listen, y'all know how I feel. I'm not partisan, but what we got going on now, and I think if you deny this, you just ain't all the way here. We have a runaway train going on right now in Washington, in that White House. In Congress, there is a runaway train where the Republicans are like, yeah, bet we don't care about nobody. And what they're saying is what Trump and these people behind him, what they want, and we going to get it done. And to stop a runaway train, you need people in there that's common sense, that's meeting in the middle and say, here, I hear what you're saying. However, I can't be on board with that. Case in point, Senator John McCain, when the first time President Trump wanted to get rid of Obamacare, what did he go do? And he's a staunch Republican. He was anyway, RP. He was a staunch Republican, like one of the last of the truest conservatives. And he was on board with Trump for a minute. And he, in a sense, did not like Obama, right? But he had the common sense. Even when he was at town halls and people say, oh, Obama's a terrorist. He was like, okay, no, he's not, right? So he had the sense to say, nah, Trump, I ain't finna let you have no runaway train. And that saved Obamacare. That right there will go down in the history books of I took the key out the runaway train and I put my thumb on the brake. That's what we need.
Right. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. But this goes back to the original problem. The American people did not want Obamacare. We wanted individual payer, thing like that, universal health care. This is another reason why it doesn't make sense that we don't have universal health care. Those of us that have researched Obamacare, we know that like right now, because of the big, beautiful bill, people can't afford their copays, right? So a lot of people are going to be affected. You are absolutely right with that. But if we had universal health care, would this be an issue? But yet illegal migrants can come here and get universal health care. All of these illegal people they get universal health care. The American people, there is no reason why in this country we cannot have universal health care. Obamacare, I agree, it helps and it is, but it's just a Band-Aid. And those of us that have researched Obamacare will tell you it has always been a Band-Aid because when these issues come up and those copays, I'm a military veteran. I remember when they said, oh, you guys are now going to start paying $10 a month out of your pocket, even though my contract said I'm going to be taken care of for the rest of my life. Now the $10 a month is over $100 a month. And it's going on and all the different plans and stuff. If we had universal health care, this type of stuff would not be an issue. The American people overwhelmingly did not want Obamacare. It was something that was proposed as a thing. Everybody wanted individual, was that payer option or whatever the thing was, because Bernie even talked about it. If you can't give us universal health care, give us universal pay or whatever it was. So again, American people, why is it that we can give other people universal health care, free housing, but we can't seem to do that for our own citizens? It just doesn't make sense. And now we talk about this big, beautiful bill that's coming down the pipe in the new fiscal year, which starts in September. Yes, but here's the thing. If the Democrats ever get back in power and they don't like that big, beautiful bill, they can repeal that bill. But just like in everything else, like we've been telling you guys, this is all performative. These are both the same party. They're going to let that bill sit and stay. It's just like, remember the Bush tax cuts? Did Obama stop the Bush tax cuts? Because they were so terrible when Bush implemented them. Oh my God! Oh, it's going to be the worst thing that ever happened. Obama gets in office, he extends them. Trump gets in office, he extends them. Biden gets in office, he extends them. The beautiful bill, when the Democrats get back in the power, they can repeal that. So let's watch and see if they will. And I can almost guarantee you they won't do a damn thing about it, because these people are the same. It's performative politics is what you're seeing. Like you said, they're getting their marching orders from somebody in the shadow, behind the curtain, both parties. And the person that's telling both parties what to do is the same person. It's performative.
Well, and there's a point of correction here. Most Americans support the Affordable Care Act, which is also known as Obamacare. Of course, it becomes a partisan thing, right? The Republicans, they don't like it. They don't like it. They don't want it. It's just that, the other. So people who tend to be Republicans say, okay, yeah, I agree with that, right? And the other side on the Democrats, but for the most part, the majority of Americans support Affordable Care Act. Now, you know, that even with universal health care, that neither party has brought it into fruition. They talk about it, but they will not bring it into fruition. And we know why. They say, oh, it's too expensive. It's going to cost the government this, that, and the other. And, you know, all this other stuff. Of course, universal health care is just that. Health care for all, right? No matter what your status is, this, that, and the other. Other countries have it, but somehow America's supposed to be the hottest country, is what Trump is saying. The hottest country in the world cannot give its citizens health care. And of course, we know that they're not interested in keeping everybody healthy. There's, you know, we got to get rid of some of these people, right? And if you can't afford health care, then so be it. But yeah, it's favorable. So I just kind of want to correct that, because it's not true that most Americans do not want affordable health care, because with that, there are people, seniors and all kind of people. Like I said, there's people who work. They may not get it free. A lot of times people think, oh, Obama's care is free. No, you can get health coverage, but you still have to pay something for it, especially if you're working. It allows certain people who couldn't ordinarily get it or can afford to get it, it allows them to get it. Now, there's some people say, well, you know, when the mandate is no longer there, from what I understand. When Obama was in office, that they mandated you to have some insurance or some penalty. I don't even know what it was. That mandate is gone. And I think the mandate was wrong. If you don't want to get health care for whatever reason, you can't afford to do it, that should be on you, right? You can't force anybody to get health care, I guess. But yeah, I just think we should be careful in making sure that we are factual when we say that, you know, most Americans do not approve of Obamacare, because that's just not true.
Well, no, what I'm telling you is this. Most people do not approve of Obamacare because it was sold as universal health care. A lot of people were on the aspects that Obamacare was universal health care, and that was not what it was. And then now we're seeing, because even though you got the ACA, right, a lot of people weren't covered under certain aspects of what they needed or whatever the thing was. It wasn't like, okay, you can go in here and you can get a brain transplant and it's going to be paid for. That wasn't the case. It was sold as a universal type thing. And unfortunately, as we know in America, people don't do their research. It sounds good, or everybody's going to get health coverage. They ran it as if it was going to be universal health care, and that isn't what it was. And again, more people have fallen off of it in the last couple of years because they can't afford the copays. They can't afford to they just can't afford it in their budget because of the way things are going. If we had universal health care as it was supposed to be, it would be what it is. When they sold the Obamacare, they sold it as if it was a form of universal health care.
I I don't know how true that is that they sold that, as that would be fraud, but it's not the first time the government would be participating in some form of fraud. But let's keep the buck, let's not lie, right? A lot of people didn't even know that Obamacare was Affordable Care Act, especially a lot of these Republicans in these, podunk towns where they ain't have no teeth or no money, right? They thought when they were asked about Obamacare, oh, that's terrible, we need to get rid of it, and all this other stuff. And they say, well, did you know that Obamacare was the same thing as the ACA or Affordable Care Act? Oh, I didn't know that. Or they asked them about the Affordable Care Act, and they said, oh, I think that's a good thing. Yes, we need it. And then they said, well, did you know it was the same as Obamacare? No, I didn't know that, right? So I'm bringing that up is because whether it was sold as universal health care, and I haven't seen any evidence of that, that don't mean that it didn't happen. It was also sold that Obamacare, well, for whatever reason, people thought that Obamacare was different than Affordable Care Act because it came out of propaganda, right? If you are a Republican and you tell your constituents, or you always getting on the podium saying, oh, that Obamacare is it's bad, it's this and it's that, Obamacare, then of course people who ain't got two peanuts for a brain say, well, Obamacare is bad. It's bankrupting the country. Oh, it's no good. But then when they learned, so I have the Affordable Care Act. So you mean that I've actually been advocating and voting to get rid of my own health care? Yes, sir, Jethro. You've been voting against your own interests. So I just think that we should just kind of get closer to the truth as possible. And will we get spot on? Probably not. But at the other end of the day, too, this is why I say I don't think everybody should vote. Because if you go to the booth thinking that you voting because somebody sold you something as a universal health care and it's not, then that's on you. If you went to the booth thinking I'm going to get rid of Obamacare, but I love Affordable Care Act, you should stay far away from a booth. You cannot keep saying, I trust my politician and everything that they telling me, and you didn't go research what they're telling you to vote for. So some of that is on you.
Agreed. Like I said, everybody's got to wake up. People are starting to wake up because people are seeing that the country it's a free for all right now. The nearest scare, what Trump is doing in DC, totally legal. What he's doing, depending on what side you answer. A lot of Black people say, hey, we need to stop the crime and all this other stuff. The national troops help that. It depends on how you look at it. But all of this stuff is performance. But I'm going to say this, because most of our people that we talk to are Democrats, and they're Democrat being born and raised and all that other stuff. Knowing what they know that this man is doing, and he's a dictator and all of this, the end question you have to ask yourself as a Black person and a Democrat, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, that's a good question. But, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has said, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has said, and it's been said even before that, right? The Honorable Marcus Garvey. We have been told, especially as Black people, Black Americans, however you describe yourself, that you were supposed to up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will, do for self, right? As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, ain't nobody in the White House gonna do anything for Black people in America. Nothing, right? And we should be doing things for ourselves. Will we get reparations? Absolutely, we're gonna get it because it ain't up to them, it's up to God, right? You cannot do what you've done to Black people in America and think that you're gonna continue to sleep at night without paying the repercussions. But that doesn't absolve us of the things that we are supposed to be doing, right? And so with Trump being in office, and the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan said that as well, oh, this is ordained that Trump is back in office, because now we as Black Americans especially, we have to wake up. As I heard it put beautifully by that of our brother Abdul Halim Muhammad, he basically said, Pharaoh has let us go, and we must let Pharaoh go, right? Pharaoh being who's in the White House, they've let Black people go a long time ago, but Black people refuse to let go of Pharaoh. Pharaoh, please give me. Oh, Pharaoh, nah. Pharaoh's like, go make it do what it do. But Pharaoh let our people go off those plantations, and our people did what they needed to do. Now Pharaoh got back in the mix when he saw that black people was thriving without him. That's a different story. But see, we ain't there no more, right? So regardless of who was in that White House, yes, I know some people saying, well, our tax dollars pay for AB. Yes, it does, right? But the other part of that too is stop voting for somebody because they're a Democrat or because they're black, or even if you vote for somebody because they're Republican and they don't do you any earthly good, stop voting for them because of that. As the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, vote for God, right? And along with voting for God, because we are that, vote for yourself. Vote to, as I said last week, get your kids out the streets. Vote for spending your money with people who look like you. Vote for women, and I can speak as sweaty as I am right now. You are Black women, the mother of civilization, right? Get back in the home and start, and I know you got to work, but just hear me out. Start raising your children like you care, right? And fathers, yeah, you got an admonishment coming too. Bring your behind home. Bring yourself back in the fold. Stop with all the excuses. And we as Black people got to stop being so divisive. Oh, well, Black women this and Black women that. But you know what? That white man don't like his white woman all the time. But guess what? They say, we got to build. We going to build. I'm not leaving you. You ain't leaving me. The Asians do it. Hispanics do it. Now, they leave sometimes, right? But they figure out, hey, we got to raise these kids. We got legacies and stuff to build. I'm not mad at you because I almost said something I was going to say. Somebody off the internet who ain't got no man, no woman, nowhere telling you that you shouldn't have no man, no woman, nowhere. We ain't listening to them. Is it entertaining? Yes. But are we taking that to heart? Are we going home and putting our woman or our man at the house because some sucker on the internet talking about all Black women is no, they ain't doing none of that. So until we as Black people here in America look in the mirror and say there's some things that we could and should be doing, we cannot keep talking about what they are not doing for us in the White House until we got our stuff together. And before we leave, I'm going to say this. If you think I'm joking, look at the Asian. Look how the Asian moves. The Asian like, yeah, we vote, but we don't vote in hopes of, we need something. They got their stuff working together perfectly, right? Which is why they get what they need, because this system knows that if the Asian, along with some other groups of people, shut down economically, yeah, they got an answer for that. Now, as I said yesterday on the show, we give away 97% of our money to this white supremacist system, and we cry about what white supremacy is doing to us if we stop spending. And they say it's 10% of the money that we give away. That would send a shockwave through this country. Now, imagine if we moved it to 50%. Oh, man, they'd be like, wait, what kind of bills y'all asking for? Oh, reparations. How much? Oh, yeah, we got that, right? But until we think like that, and Dr. Claude Anderson has been putting a shoe in our behind for a long time about that too. Until we adhere to any of that, the rest is just noise. So anyway, you got something to say? No? So anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. We'll be back here 5 p.m. Y'all see, I'll be sweating, boy. I couldn't be no Baptist preacher nowhere. But we'll be back here 5 p.m. Central Time. Again, if you found value in anything that we've done or said here, there's ways to donate to the channel. But at the very least, please like and subscribe. And hey, tell a friend. They might learn something. Peace.